Very good morning to all panels that attend this forum. I'm the host of the day. My name is Rushmi. As well we know, hypertension is an issue of concern. Today, we would like to highlight a topic that is quite interesting to be discussed. Factors associated with the severity of hypertension among Malaysian adults. Before we proceed to our forum, I would like to introduce our panelists today. Let's start with our first panel, Ms. JUEN. How are you today, Miss?
I'm good and good morning to the other panels. I'm JURGAMBIGAI MOHAN, currently pursuing in Bachelor of Business Administration, Logistics and Transportation.
Okay, next we have Mr. Tan.
Hi guys, my name is Tan Juan Seng. I'm currently studying in Business Administration, Logistics and Transportation. I'm glad to be here.
Alright, then we also have Miss DARSHAAINI.
Hi, nice to meet you guys. My name is DARSHAAINI from KRISHNAN, currently pursuing Bachelor Administration, Logistics and Transportation.
Okay, last but not least, here we have Miss Tamini.
Hello, I'm Tamini A.SHUNMUGAM, currently studying Bachelor of Accounting Information System, and thanks for inviting me today.
Alright, before we start our forum in details, let me explain about background of our topic today. Hypertension, also known as high blood pressure, is a medical condition characterized by elevated arterial blood pressure. Blood pressure is the force exerted by blood against the artery walls as the heart circulates it throughout the body. When blood pressure remains consistently high over time, it can cause a variety of health problems, including heart disease, stroke, and kidney damage. Genetics, lifestyle choices, and underlying medical conditions can all contribute to hypertension. When blood pressure readings consistently measure 130 over 80 millimeters of mercury or higher, it is diagnosed. Treatment typically consists of lifestyle change such as regular exercise and a healthy diet, as well as blood pressure medication. Without wasting our time, let's hear the opinion from panel 1, Ms. JUEN, on the problem among Malaysian adults in terms of hypertension.
Thank you, Ms. Moderator. Adults in Malaysia are at risk of having high blood pressure in about 70% of cases. Despite the policies and hypertension task groups put in place by the government, the prevalence of hypertension in Malaysia has remained high throughout recent decades and has not significantly decreased in the population. This hypertension can increase the risk of disease among Malaysian adults such as stroke and heart attack. That's all from me.
Thank you, Ms. JUEN, for the explanation. I believe the audience can clarify the situation of hypertension among Malaysian adults now. Ms. DARSHAAINI, can you point out the aim of the study?
No problem, Miss Moderator. In this research, we investigate the factors associated with the severity of hypertension among Malaysian adults. Researchers examine the different variables that play a massive role in causing hypertension among Malaysian adults and also determine the likelihood of Malaysian adults suffering from hypertension.
Thank you, Ms. DARSHAAINI. Let's move on to the next part of the discussion. Can Ms. Tamini explain the population and sample for the study?
Yes, sure. The purpose of this study is to look into the factors that influence the severity of hypertension in Malaysian adults, and this study's population can be classified as finite population because it can be physically listed. Therefore, the population could consist of Malaysian adults, and the study included 15,758 Malaysian adults who are aged 18 and above. To provide useful data for the research, the sample was assumed to represent 60.1 million Malaysian adults.
Thank you, Ms. Tarmini. Seems like there are many Malaysian adults suffering from hypertension now. I'm curious about what type of data is used by the researcher in the study. May I hear it from Mr. Tan?
Of course, there are two types of data that can be collected in most of the report, which are primary data and secondary data. The data used in this report is primary data. Primary data is the data which is collected directly from the sources such as interviews, surveys, and observations. In this report, the reporter collected the data via a cross-sectional population-based survey. And the data from this report also conducted from a nationally representative sample of urban and rural population for 3 months, which is from March to June. Also, the data collected is focused on trained research nurses. Besides that, the interview section was also conducted in this report. According to the report, face-to-face interviews and self-administered questionnaires were conducted simultaneously when collecting the data.
Thank you for your explanation, Mr. Tan. Sounds good to use primary data in this study. As we knew, there are many variables used by the researcher to complete the study. Can we listen to the opinion of Ms. DARSHAAINI?
First, we can find that there are dependent and independent variables, but most of the variables used are independent variables. For example, information on the demographics, including age, residential location, sex, ethnicity, educational attainments, marital status, and household income status, was collected using a standard questionnaire involving the household and individual levels as published elsewhere and operationalized into suitable groups. Variables also can be categorized into two types, which are qualitative and quantitative variables. Qualitative variables, also known as categorical variables, they take categories as their values. For example, in this research, all of the variables studied by the researcher are qualitative variables such as locality, gender, ethnicity, and more. Meanwhile, quantitative variables or numerical variables have values that represent a counted or measured quantity. It can be separated into two forms, which are discrete and continuous variables. Discrete variables is a variable that takes on countable value and the result always are integers. The researchers didn't use discrete variables to collect the data.
Excuse me, Mr. Shiny, may I interrupt for a moment?
Sure thing. Do you want to add something?
Yes, I would like to suggest a discrete variable which is energy requirements.
I agree with you. I have the same idea.
I see what you mean. Thank you, Ms. Tarmini. As Ms. Tarmini said, the energy requirement is one of the discrete variables because it is always valued by a specific value.
Thank you for the amazing discussion. From what I've heard just now, energy requirements also can be suggested as the discrete variable that is suitable to collect data for this research. Without further ado, let's get to know about continuous variables from Ms. Tami.
No problem, Ms. Moderator. Continuous variable refers to the numerical variable whose value is attained by measuring. It can assume any value along a line interval, including every possible two values. And the study also didn't provide a continuous variable, but I would like to suggest weight as the continuous variable, and it is linked to our topic. How about others?
I also suggest weight as the continuous variable.
Thank you for the responses and explanation. Next, we come to the last part of the discussion today, which is the scales of measurement. What's your point of view, Ms. JUEN?
There are four types of scale measurements which are nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio levels. Nominal and ordinal levels are categorized as qualitative data. The difference between nominal and ordinal levels is nominal levels variables can only be classified while ordinal level variables can be classified and ordered. For our further information, the nominal level variables used in the study are locality, gender, ethnicity, current smoker, vegetable intake, food intake, physical activity, diabetes mellitus, hypocholesterolemia, and abdominal obesity. Meanwhile, marital status, income, current drinker and BMI status are determined as ordinal level variables. For example, BMI status is counted as ordinal level variable because its values were categorized into normal or underweight, overweight and obesity.
What a good explanation. Basically, nominal level data is given in the exact answer, while ordinal level data has its ordering. Then, how about the other two scales of measurement, Mr. Tan?
As Ms. JUEN mentioned just now, there are ratio and interval level variables except for the nominal and ordinal levels. Internal and ratio data can both be categorized, ranked, and have equal spacing between adjacent values. Only ratio scales have a true zero. Ms. Tamini has suggested a discrete variable, which is energy requirement just now. The variable in terms of energy requirements are counted as interval level data. Meanwhile, the weight, which is suggested as continuous data, can be treated as ratio level variable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tan. Along with the explanation, I think the audience clearly knows the variables with the scales of measurement and has learned statistics knowledge about hypertension. Okay, that's all for today. I will end our forum discussion with thanks to Ms. JURGAMBIGAI, Mr. Tan, Ms. DARSHAAINI, and Ms. Tamini for sharing with us today. To the audience, hope you enjoyed the forum discussion. I would like to apologize for any mistake or oversights that may have occurred during the forum discussion. I will make sure to learn from these mistakes and improve for future discussion. Thank you once again and have a nice day.